All right, let's talk about something that makes a lot of people, well, a little nervous. Yep, it's performance appraisal season. But here's the thing. What if I told you that meeting you might be dreading is actually one of the biggest opportunities you'll get all year? Seriously, we're going to break down exactly how to make that happen.
So, be honest. When you see that performance review meeting pop up on your calendar, does your stomach do a little flip? Maybe a big one? Yeah, you are so not alone. That feeling is super common. But today, we're going to flip that script completely. And this right here, this is the secret. The whole game changes when you stop seeing it as a one-sided judgment, where you just sit there and take it. Instead, think of it for what it's supposed to be, a real two-way conversation. It's about your growth, your future. It's your chance to talk about where you want to go. Okay, so the first big piece of the puzzle is all about this mindset shift. We're moving away from that passive, kind of nervous energy of, here's what I did, hope it's okay, to something way more powerful and proactive. We're talking, here's the value I delivered, now let's talk about what's next. See the difference? It all starts right between your ears. Which leads us to the practical side of things. How do you actually prepare for this? Look, this isn't about just making a boring list of tasks you checked off. No way. It's about building a compelling narrative. You're telling the story of your value. And the best part? You are the author of that story. So, where do we start? Right here, with the basics. You can't tell your story if you don't know the playbook, right? So first thing, pull up your notes from your last review. Then, and this is a big one, actually reread your current job description. What were you actually hired to do? And finally, look at the goals you set for this review period. This stuff is basically your scorecard. All right, once you've got that foundation, it's time to build your case. And we're going to do it in 4 simple but super powerful steps. First, we list our big wins. Second, we collect the proof. Third, and this is important, we're going to take an honest look at our misses. And finally, we'll connect all of it back to the big picture, what the company actually cares about. Okay, let's talk about proof. This is so important. It's not enough to just say you did a good job. You've got to show it. We're talking emails, hard data, reports, even that awesome feedback you got from a client. But here's the thing. Not all proof is the same. An email that just says thanks is nice, but an email that says, wow, you totally saved the project by doing X, Y, and Z, that's gold. That's what goes in your evidence file.
And here's a little pro tip for you. Don't walk in there with a laundry list of 20 different things you did. You'll just run out of time. You have to be strategic. Pick your top 3 to 5 absolute best accomplishments, your greatest hits. These are the stories you have to tell, the ones that really show your impact.
Now, let's be real, nobody is perfect. There are always going to be things that didn't go quite right. And that's okay. The trick is how you talk about them. Don't make excuses, don't blame anyone. Instead, own it and frame it as a learning experience. Something like, yeah, that project didn't hit the mark. Here's what I think happened, here's the lesson I took from it, and here's what I'm doing differently now. That doesn't sound like failure. That sounds like growth.
Okay, so this is where all that prep work really starts to pay off big time. Because a great appraisal isn't just a report card on the past. Nope, it's a launch pad for the future. So this next part is all about you grabbing the steering wheel of your own career. Ever heard of a SWOT analysis? It sounds kind of corporate-y, but it's actually a super simple and crazy powerful tool for this. Just take 10 minutes, jot down your strengths, what you're awesome at. Then your weaknesses, be honest. Next, opportunities, what could you do next? And finally, threats, what might get in your way? Doing this gives you this incredible self-awareness. It's a total game changer for the conversation. And look, don't just sit there and wait for your manager to hand you your goals for the next year. That's passive. Be proactive. Show up with a couple of ideas of your own. And if you use the SMART goals framework, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, it shows you're not just dreaming, you're thinking strategically. It's incredibly impressive. Remember what we said at the beginning? This is a two-way conversation. Well, the best way to make sure it is, come with your own questions. Don't be afraid to ask things like, from your perspective, what are my biggest strengths? Or what's the one skill you think I should focus on developing this year? This shows you're not just there to receive feedback, you're there to engage. And hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second, money. If you're planning to discuss your salary, please do not just wing it. Come prepared. Have all that proof of your contributions ready to go. And a great way to start the conversation is to simply ask about the process. It shows you're professional and you want to understand how things work.
All right, you've done the homework. You've built your story. You're ready. Now, it's game time. the meeting itself. So how do you handle yourself in the moment to make sure all that hard work pays off? Let's get into the strategy. Okay, this slide right here, this is everything. In that meeting, you have a choice. On one side, you've got the reactive mindset. This is where you hear something you don't like and you immediately get defensive. You argue, you make excuses, you can feel your blood pressure rise, and the conversation just dies. Or you can choose the proactive mindset. You listen, you seek to understand, you ask for examples. One of these paths leads to a dead end, the other leads to real growth. The choice is yours.
So let's break that down into actual tactics. Walk in there calm, open-minded. If you get some feedback that, kind of stings or just catches you off guard, just take a breath. Don't jump in. Instead of saying, well, I disagree, try something like, that's interesting. Can you give me a specific example so I can really understand? It completely changes the tone. You're not fighting, you're learning. Then you can pivot by asking, okay, I hear you. What's one thing I could do to improve on that?
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. When you zoom out, you realize this isn't just some boring meeting you have to get through. Not at all. It's a genuinely strategic moment in your career, and you have way more power to shape it than you think.
Because ultimately, that's what this is all about. All the preparation, the gathering evidence, the SWOT analysis, the SMART goals, it's all designed to do one thing: transform a routine review into a powerful, strategic conversation about you. You stop being just a passenger along for the ride, and you become the co-pilot of your own career. So as you get ready for your next appraisal, I want to leave you with this thought. Your career really is your story. And this meeting, it's your chance to help write the next chapter. You're holding the pen. So what's that next chapter going to say?